here we are.
I was in this car wreck and I wasn't really injured physically, but it was pretty traumatic emotionally. And I would say within a month or so, I started having some like brain fog and some weird physical symptoms, some numbness and tingling in my fingers. But concurrently, a lot of other weird stuff was happening to my body. My joints were popping and cracking and this, and this. It was like dominoes, all these symptoms. And I was diagnosed with a connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And at the time, I'm, seeking answers. I'm asking for nerve conduction studies. Why are my fingers, do I have carpal tunnel? What's going on? And the time my doctor was blaming everything on the Ehlers-Danlos and really kind of was encouraging me to drop any investigation of anything further. And I had some intuition or something to keep digging. And it was very bizarre. I mean, she was asking me to just take these pills. If we can get rid of the symptoms, just drop it. And I was like, I need to know. This doesn't feel like just Ehlers-Danlos. So I found a neurologist and I came to him with my theories, which were a B12 deficiency or this, whatever. And he ordered a brain scan and a C-spine scan. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why would, and throughout all this time, this was going on for maybe a year, like symptoms, seeking answers. I had never once sought out MS. I just was like, it just didn't even enter the realm of possibility for me. So he called me on a Friday and said, yeah, you've got some lesions on your brain and he's talking a mile a minute and these are enhancing and this, and this. And I was like, and he's like, I think you have multiple sclerosis. And I just was floored by that. It just didn't even seem real. And, it was pretty devastating to hear, but I spoke to a friend of mine who's a neurologist and another friend, and they said, you're going to be okay. They talked me off the ledge and said there's, the MS of today is not the same as it was 20 years ago or even 5 years ago with the new treatments that were available. And I was able to get into a clinical trial for 𝕊𝕐𝕗, and which had already been approved, but getting into the trial meant a speedier, ability to get it approved. So I was, started infusions a few months later, and I've had one or two like definite relapses early on in the treatment course, but since then, not a lot of new disease activity. And I just, I sometimes feel like the luckiest girl in the world. But I also take low dose naltrexone as kind of like an adjunct therapy. And since then, I've totally overhauled all these other areas of my life to try to control what I can control with diet and exercise and mindfulness and stress reduction and things like that. And but I'm very interested in research, and this whole thing with my health has just reinvigorated a love of science for me, and health and medicine and all of it. So when Shane told me he was interviewing you and I looked at your bio, I just was fangirling pretty hard and just am very impressed with how you spend your time and very thankful, really.
What are common symptoms? How does Megan's story kind of compare to average occurrences? And it sounds like there isn't really, the word average is kind of hard to use when it comes to MS.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, Shane, I'll try my best to address that. But first of all, Megan, I just want to tell you that, I'm so proud of the journey that you have come so far. And, my heart goes out to you every time I see a new patient, and I hear the story along the similar lines, I am humbled. As well as reinvigorated, to help cure this disease. And, I've seen you for less than 5 minutes on Zoom, but I think you're doing all the right things. And I agree with your two friends you will do really well. I think you've addressed all the components of multiple sclerosis. It's really not just MRIs and Ocrevus, as the mind and body connection, the other important aspects that you've honed in. So we can delve into it as well. So I just want to, give you a shout out and just to let you know that, my heart kind of leaps when I hear those stories, but also I totally feel elated to hear, in your short journey, how well you're honing in, and you're turning it around and making it a positive journey for you. So thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So getting back to, Shane's question, how unique is your presentation, right? So I always say that, I do this for a living, and I've amassed quite a bit of experience, but I would say no two people walk into my clinic with the same presentation. So every case is unique.